Have you ever wondered how to use the chainsword? Well, I've got the video for you. In this video I'm going to cover perks, which version to use, and just how to get stuck in and genuinely kick ass. So I'm going to begin with what you basically start with. Obviously it's a balanced version, but then I highly recommend you keep it balanced for the next two versions because it's got the speed and it's still got the cleaving potential, because the fencing version, funnily enough, for the third version isn't that good. So yeah, it's not brilliant. It's got 2 speed, but then you go to the balanced version, it's got 4 speed, so it is better and it's got better cleaving potential. But for the final version, I highly recommend using the fencing version, since that's the one that gets the speed buff, but it doesn't have as good cleaving. It's still a 3, but if you go to the balanced one, its speed is at 1. It's a bit confusing. Maybe it's an error on their half, but you know, it's pretty good really. So what I'm going to cover next is the perks. So the perks, straight away you're going to go for the bottom row for perpetual strength, and then your swift recovery, and then once you've done that you go for both perpetual strengths on top and bottom, and then go across to your soul blade, so then you've got an extra attack. Go for both Tyrannid Slayer and Chaos Slayer. It's pretty good at those. And then hard targets, and you take less damage when fighting. Trampling Stride and Majoris Slayer. So those are pretty solid perks, and I highly recommend that you go for those. So think of the chainsword as a weapon that just gets stuck in. You just start ripping to shreds everything you see. Obviously it's got to stay a bit PG, but anyway. So yeah, the chainsword is a pretty lethal weapon when it comes to getting stuck in. It's very much a last resort for the characters like the tactical, but when it comes to the other classes like the Vanguard and the Bulwark, they get absolutely stuck in because they've got their abilities just let them launch themselves into the middle of the mix. And the chainsword is pretty reliable. It's got a good mix of cleaving hits and singular targeted hits. There's also the stomp, which is iconic in these games. I know in Space Marine 1 I had a lot of fun stomping around the orcs. So chainsword is pretty solid, and with this build you've got a 5-hit light attack combo, as well as you've got a double stomp. So it's pretty good at dealing with big hordes. As well as that, you've got the fencing, which is pretty solid when it comes to you know, parrying, dealing with large groups, and obviously every time you parry a little guy, you get your shield back. And when it comes to being surrounded by warriors, for example, they're very consistent at all swinging for you at the same time. It gets pretty easy when it comes to you actually getting the timing down. You're just constantly spamming the parry button, just constantly knocking them back. And obviously you've got the gun strikes with the tactical, as well as with the assault. If you've got the gun strike perk that gives you the shield every time you do a gun strike, that's pretty OP, and I highly recommend it. I really do. You know, a lot of people do use the thunder hammer for the assault, but the chainsword is a good substitute too, because it's just so well rounded. So it's in the middle of all the weapons. Like the thunder hammer is on the further side for like dealing with the big groups and big hits, big, you know, just spectacle stuff like that. And then you've got the other side, which is the combat knife, which is stabbing and poking and, you know, 1v1 type stuff. And obviously there's a power fist and a power sword, which are like in between. Think of the chainsword in the middle. Power sword, power fist, knife, thunder hammer. It's that simple really. And you know, it's kind of crazy to me that a lot of people would choose, for example, with the Bulwark, they'd choose the power sword. Yes, it's the spectacle, but you've also got the reliability of the chainsword. So the chainsword is, again, like I said, it's in the middle. It's the old reliable kind of thing, and I cannot explain in words how good it is, in the sense of, you know, dealing with hordes. And I know this is a video about how to use, so in a way, like, you've got to use it as a backup in certain scenarios. But if you are maining it on, for example, the Vanguard and the oh wow, yeah, so it's the Vanguard, Assault and the Bulwark. My god, I made a mistake about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, So with those classes, you can actually just fully use it to its full potential. Like the Vanguard, he only gets the combat knife, so if you want a class that can deal with the bigger side of hordes, choose the chainsword over the combat knife. But if you want something a bit more fast, a bit quicker hitting, not as good in big surrounded type scenarios, it's, you know, it's not that good as the combat knife. So the chainsword is the middle ground of all the weapons. It can do the big hits, it can do the big spectacles type stuff, you know, last stand type stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much the chainsword. I know I've not really gone into much detail on how to use it, but like I said, I've done the perks, I've covered, you know, which version, the fencing version, and basically just go ham, get stuck in, parry, stomp your feet, you know, stuff like that. It's pretty damn good. But yeah, that is about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, and I know I just rambled on a bit, basically just talked absolute rubbish and tried to hype up a sword, please leave a comment on what you think I should cover next. I know I'm very tempted to cover the power sword. It's a very unique weapon, and you know, it is on the larger than life side of the weapon spectrum. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like this video and you want more like this, please leave a like, and if you want to follow more content like this, like my own, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.